Romania is a land of ancient civilizations and medieval worlds. From the peaks of the Carpathian Mountains to centuries-old medieval towns, this country is home to some of Europe's most remarkable wonders. Few countries have carried the richness of their past into the present day so powerfully. A journey begins through Romania's most timeless, legendary, and extraordinary places. Rock sculpture of Decebalus. The monument stands at Iron Gates, one of the narrowest and most impressive sections of the Danube River. The giant face carved into the cliffs represents Decebalus, the last king of Dacia. Standing approximately 55 meters high, the monument is the largest rock sculpture in Europe. Even the smallest details of the face reach far beyond ordinary human scale. On the opposite bank stands the Tabula Traiana, commemorating the victory of the Roman Emperor Trajan. There is a reason why this monument stands here. Nearly 2,000 years ago, this river witnessed the long wars between Rome and Dacia. As a result, one bank preserves a Roman monument from nearly 2,000 years ago, while the other carries a modern tribute to Dacia's last king. Brașov. Brașov boasts one of the most striking medieval cityscapes to have survived into the modern era. And at the center of that cityscape lies Council Square. At the center of the square stands the Council House, the seat of Brașov's civic government for many years. Today, the building is home to the Brașov County Museum of History. The Black Church is another defining landmark of the city and an essential part of its history. Construction began in the late 14th century, and it is now recognized as the largest Gothic church in Romania. For a long time, the building's dark appearance was attributed to a devastating fire that swept through the city in the late 17th century. Whether the fire was truly responsible for that color, however, remains a matter of debate to this day. Inside, the atmosphere is surprisingly open and airy, a striking contrast to the heavy, brooding exterior. Soaring arches and wide spans give the interior a character all of its own. But the Gothic architecture is not the only thing that commands attention. The church also houses one of the most significant collections of Anatolian carpets outside Turkey. Most of them were donated by Saxon merchants who traded with Ottoman territories. Known today as Transylvanian rugs, this collection ranks among the Black Church's most treasured possessions. Another standout feature of the interior is the pulpit, which is richly ornamented and elaborately carved. For centuries, clergy addressed their congregations from this very spot. Among the city's historic churches, the Dormition of the Mother of God Church holds a special place. Stepping inside, the eye is drawn immediately to the iconostasis, with its intricate and meticulous craftsmanship. The wall paintings transform the entire feel of the interior. Virtually no surface has been left bare. Brașov's other great churches tell equally layered stories. St. Nicholas is among the oldest and most impressive of them. The frescoes surrounding the church entrance feature Jesus, Mary, and various saints. The level of detail in these frescoes remains striking even centuries later. Within the church complex stands the Agias Matar, a dedicated building used for holy water ceremonies. The garden also features a timber bell tower, positioned separately from the main church at some distance. This arrangement was a common feature of traditional Orthodox churches throughout Transylvania. Beyond the churches, the city's medieval defences have left their own mark. Catherine's Gate is the only original city gate in Brașov to have survived intact. Its 4 small corner towers were no mere architectural flourish. They declared that the city held the authority to carry out capital punishment. Here, Brașov's medieval legacy comes to an end. Transfăgărășan. Today, this remarkable road is known as one of Romania's most famous routes. However, this road was built not for tourism, but for military purposes during a time of growing tensions. In the final quarter of the 20th century, a massive project began in the heart of the Carpathians. Yet, the harsh rocky terrain of the Carpathians was one of the greatest challenges facing the engineers. For this reason, thousands of tons of explosives were used to carve the road. Despite the loss of many soldiers, the project was completed in a shorter time than expected. However, this road is known for more than its sharp curves. Along the route, we also encounter Bâlea Waterfall, one of the highest waterfalls in Romania. As the road continues to climb, one of the most captivating landscapes of the Carpathians comes into view. This is the area surrounding Bulja Lake. Every year, thousands of people come here to admire the unique scenery offered by the lake. The steep peaks and mountain lodges surrounding it make the landscape even more extraordinary. Bran Castle. Today, much of the world knows this castle as Dracula's castle. However, what is interesting is that there is no definitive evidence that Vlad the Impaler ever lived here. Moreover, historians point to other castles with much stronger connections to him. Despite this, Bran Castle gradually became the structure recognized around the world as Dracula's castle. Did this fame truly emerge from history, or was it the result of a perception that developed over time? Interestingly, even Bram Stoker, the creator of Dracula, most likely never saw this castle. Yet, the present appearance of Bran Castle also bears the influence of another name. In the early 20th century, Queen Marie transformed the castle into a beloved royal residence. The gardens, rooms, and living spaces were reorganized during her reign. For this reason, the structure that greets visitors today bears the marks not only of the Middle Ages, but also of the era of Queen Marie. Nevertheless, millions of people come here for the same reason: to search for the traces of Dracula. Salina Turda. The earliest documents confirming the existence of the mine date back to 1271. However, the true origins of the mine may go back much further. Interestingly, some researchers believe its origins may date back to the Roman period. Yet, even today, there is no archaeological evidence that can definitively confirm this theory. For centuries, the value of salt went far beyond that of an ordinary mineral. For this reason, it was not without reason that it was once called white gold. But extracting this valuable resource was no simple task. This long tunnel, used to reach the mine, served as a passageway for workers for centuries. The extracted blocks of salt followed the same route on their way to the surface. Deep inside the mine lies a hidden lake that can be explored by small boats. Rising above the lake is the Teresia mine, reaching a height of nearly 90 meters. Its immense scale and captivating appearance give the Teresia mine the grandeur of a great underground cathedral. Yet Teresia is only one part of this vast complex. The Rudolf mine is another of its most remarkable sections. The Ferris wheel, lights, and vast galleries combine to create an extraordinary scene here. Yet, the Rudolf mine has preserved more than just modern attractions. Among them is the Krivax system, one of the rare structures that has survived from the 19th century. In the past, this massive wooden mechanism, powered by horses, was used to bring salt blocks extracted from the Rudolf mine to the surface. What was once a place where people extracted salt from underground has now become one of the most unusual tourist destinations in the world. Danube Delta. The Danube Delta is considered one of the best preserved natural regions in Europe. Floating reed islands known as Plau have become one of the most characteristic features of the delta. Moreover, these masses of vegetation can gradually change their location, drifting across the water under the influence of winds and currents. These vast reed beds are also known for their rich bird life. The largest population of white pelicans in Europe, one of the symbols of the delta, lives here. In the Letia forest, located within the delta, it is possible to encounter wild horses. Wild bulls are also among the most unusual inhabitants of the region. Combined with its remarkable wildlife and vast wetlands, these landscapes have led many to describe the Danube Delta as Europe's Amazon. One of the most memorable experiences in the delta is exploring its channels by canoe. In some sections, the dense vegetation completely surrounds the waterway. As a result, the canoes move forward as if passing through a narrow tunnel formed among the trees. Sarmizegetusa Regia. Located high in the Carpathian Mountains, the city stood at an elevation of more than 1,000 meters. At one time, Decebalus ruled the kingdom of Dacia from here. Trajan's armies waged wars for years in order to conquer Dacia. Decebalus, meanwhile, is regarded as one of the most formidable rulers ever faced by Rome. Yet, it was not only its war-filled past that made this place unique. The circular sanctuaries formed by stone pillars are considered among the greatest mysteries of the region. Some researchers suggest that these structures may have been connected to an advanced calendar system. The Great Circular Sanctuary, in particular, reminds many people of Stonehenge because of its appearance. For this reason, some researchers describe the site as Romania's Stonehenge. However, the story of Sarmizegetusa Regia was not limited to these mysterious structures alone. According to historical sources, Emperor Trajan had to send tens of thousands of soldiers to capture this mountain capital. After years of warfare, the Roman armies captured the region. Yet Rome's victory also brought about the end of the city. Over time, the ruins disappeared among the forests of the Carpathians. The city was brought back to light through investigations that began in the modern era. Corvin Castle. Today, the castle we see is the result of a long history shaped over centuries. Each new tower and hall added another layer to the castle's medieval character, eventually turning it into one of the most impressive castles in Europe. One of the most striking features completing this scene is the long wooden bridge. At one time, anyone wishing to enter the castle had to cross this bridge first. The river flowing beneath it makes this medieval landscape even more impressive. The mace tower of the castle offers an almost lace-like appearance, with its exterior decorated with delicate geometric motifs. The knight figure on the roof stands above the tower, almost like its signature. One of the most fascinating stories associated with Corvin Castle is its connection with Vlad the Impaler. Some sources suggest that he was held at Corvin Castle for a period of time. Nevertheless, there is no clear consensus among historians. Inside, the castle reveals a different side of its medieval world. In some rooms, objects from medieval life are on display. Weaving looms and everyday items show that ordinary life also continued within these walls. Large halls surrounded by long tables once hosted gatherings of nobles and important meetings. Over time, the halls, rooms and passageways transformed Corvin Castle into much more than a defensive structure. Taken together, all these sections make Corvin Castle appear not simply as a castle, but as a small world of its own. The Merry Cemetery. Known for its colourful gravestones and unique tradition, the Merry Cemetery is one of the most unusual places in the world. Each gravestone offers glimpses into the life of the person buried there. From farmers to teachers, many people are depicted alongside scenes reflecting their daily lives. Many gravestones also feature short poems describing the lives of those buried here. For this reason, visitors often feel as if the people resting here are telling their own life stories. One of the most distinctive features associated with this cemetery is its unique shade of blue. Known as Sapienza blue, this color has become one of the symbols of the region over the years. But colors here were not chosen merely for decoration. Traditions passed down through generations have given each color a different meaning. Red is associated with passion, green with life, yellow with abundance, and black with early death. Although not definitively confirmed, some researchers see traces of Dacian culture in the origins of this tradition. In their view, the Dacians' belief in death as a new beginning may have inspired it. To us, what makes the Merry Cemetery truly unusual is its unconventional approach to death. Voroneț Monastery. Built during the reign of Stephen the Great in the late 15th century, the monastery was completed in a remarkably short time. Known as the Sistine Chapel of the East, the structure earned this distinguished title through the impressive frescoes covering its exterior walls. Its most famous work is the Last Judgment fresco painted on the western wall. Because of the scale of the composition, much of the facade is devoted to this scene. Even after centuries, the vivid colors of the frescoes continue to inspire admiration. How this distinctive shade of blue was created continued to attract the attention of researchers for many years. Over time, this unique color became known around the world as Voroneț blue. Scientific studies suggest that the extraordinary durability behind Voroneț blue may be linked to rare minerals. During the Middle Ages, these frescoes served as an important visual tool for conveying biblical events to the public. Peleș Castle. Resembling a magnificent palace more than a castle, Peleș Castle has become one of Romania's greatest sources of pride. At the entrance, visitors are greeted by the monumental statue of King Carol I. Clearly, the founder's memory was meant to be felt from the very first step. This grand welcome continues on the terraces. Here, visitors can encounter a remarkable variety of figures, including lions and dogs. Some statues depict characters inspired by the classical period. Made of Carrara marble, these sculptures are spread across almost every corner of the terraces. At the time of its construction, the castle was equipped with technologies that many European palaces had yet to possess. In this respect, it is regarded as a structure far ahead of its time. Inside, there is an extraordinary collection consisting of thousands of weapons and suits of armor. Used over the centuries, these pieces also illustrate how military technology evolved. Among them are full suits of armor made for knights and their horses. Such extensive protection was not a privilege every warrior could afford. Inside, there are also magnificent dining halls prepared for the royal family. These luxurious halls reveal how grand daily life in the palace once was. Some rooms, however, stood out even more than others. One of the most impressive examples is the Florentine room. Inspired by the Italian Renaissance, this hall stands out with its woodwork, marble fireplace, and colorful chandeliers. In the Moorish room, traces of Andalusian and North African architecture can be seen. Upon entering the Turkish room, it is difficult not to notice the elaborate carpets. While many halls draw inspiration from different cultures, the Hall of Honor takes grandeur to an entirely different level. The movable glass system used in the hall was also highly unusual for its time. The ancient city of Histria. When the foundations of Histria were laid, there were no other cities yet on the territory of present-day Romania. Everything began in the 7th century BC, when Greek colonists from Miletus reached the shores of the Black Sea. For centuries, the sea played a central role in the life and prosperity of the city. However, the sediments carried by the Danube River gradually and irreversibly changed the coastline. Today, the ruins stand on the shores of Lake Sinoi. Once a port where ships anchored, Histria now lies kilometers away from the sea. Even today, the quality of the stone and brickwork still reflects the skill of the craftsmen who once built the city. Home to different civilizations over the centuries, this ancient city enjoyed an exceptionally long lifespan. Cârța Monastery. Construction of the monastery, which has a history spanning more than 8 centuries, began in the early years of the 13th century. The structure is the only legacy of the Cistercian monks in Romania, known for their disciplined and simple way of life. Yet, the ruins that survive today no longer reflect the entire structure that once stood here. Much of the monastery disappeared over time. The roofless Gothic arches give the ruins an unusual appearance. The nave, where monks once worshipped, was later converted into a cemetery. According to local legends, the spirits of the former monks still wander here. Biertan. With origins dating back to the Middle Ages, Biertan was founded by the Saxons who arrived in Transylvania centuries ago. Rising on the hill above the settlement, the fortified church of Biertan is today the most prominent structure in the village. For a period, the religious life of the Transylvanian Saxons was administered from here. As its importance in the region grew, great attention was also given to the defense of the structure. As a result, the complex was surrounded by 3 defensive walls connected by towers and passageways. Because of these defenses, the Biertan fortified church was never conquered throughout its history. One of the most interesting features of the structure was the door protecting the sacred treasures. This door had an unusual mechanism that could lock at multiple points simultaneously. Thanks to its innovative design, the system was exhibited at the 1889 Paris World's Fair. Today, the structure is also known for its small room, popularly referred to as the marital prison. According to local tradition, couples seeking divorce were made to live together in this room. Over a period of nearly 300 years, only one couple is said to have chosen divorce. Timișoara. Located on the banks of the Bega River, the city is known for its impressive squares. One of the most interesting aspects of the city's past is that it adopted electric street lighting before many other places in Europe. The historic center of the city consists of several interconnected squares. The oldest of these, Union Square, is today known for its colorful facades. At its center stands the Plague Column, regarded as an important reminder of the city's past. The monument was erected in the 18th century to commemorate those who lost their lives during the Great Plague epidemic. 2 large cathedrals facing one another also draw attention in the square. On one side rises the Roman Catholic dome, while on the other stands the Cathedral of the Ascension of the Lord. One of the most unusual buildings in the square is the Brook House. Because of its colourful decorations, the building is often compared to a fairy tale house. A short distance away lies Liberty Square, another of the city's historic squares. At the centre of the square stands the St. Mary and St. John of Nepomuk monument, a Baroque monument dating from the 18th century. Victory Square, the city's most famous square, holds a special place among the symbols of Timișoara. Thanks to its elegant appearance, the square forms one of the city's most iconic views. At the two ends of the square rise two completely different structures. On one side stands the Three Holy Hierarchs Metropolitan Cathedral, while on the other stands the Opera House. Thanks to its tall towers, the cathedral can easily be recognized even from a distance. This distinctive appearance was shaped in part by the influence of the historic monasteries of Moldova. Some streets in the city centre are lined with hundreds of colourful umbrellas. During the summer months, they help create cooler and more vibrant spaces for pedestrians. The Sphynx of Bucegi. Located on a high mountain plateau, this natural formation is regarded as one of the most unusual rock formations in Europe. Only when viewed from a particular angle does the rock reveal a shape resembling a human face. For this reason, many people find it difficult to believe that the formation was created by nature. Yet, this remarkable appearance emerged as the result of natural processes acting over thousands of years. Wind and temperature changes gave the rock its present form. Some visitors believe that the area possesses a special energy. Although not scientifically proven, this belief adds even more mystery to the site. Vidraru Dam. Located on the shores of Lake Vidraru, this structure is considered one of Romania's greatest engineering achievements. Surrounded by high mountains, the area offers one of the most impressive landscapes in the country. The deep valley below the dam makes its height appear even more striking. The difference in elevation exceeds 150 meters. One of the most distinctive features of the site is the giant sculpture known as Electricity, which stands above the dam. Prometheus was chosen because he is remembered as the mythological figure who brought fire to humanity. Boat tours on the lake are among the most popular ways to explore the area. Ialomiței Cave. The Ialomiței Monastery at the entrance of the cave was not built by chance. This is because monks used the cave as a place of prayer and retreat for centuries. The cave is one of the longest caves open to visitors. A section stretching for approximately 400 meters offers a unique journey into the underground world. In some galleries of the cave, the ceiling is quite low. For this reason, visitors wear protective helmets for safety. In some sections, it is possible to encounter small waterfalls filtering through the rocks. Rimetea. With its traditional houses and mountain surroundings, this is one of the best preserved villages in Romania. The Orthodox church located at the center of the village was built in the Neo-Byzantine style. This architectural style gives the church a distinctive appearance among the traditional houses surrounding it. The village is also home to the Unitarian Church, another important part of the region's religious heritage. With its white houses and stone-paved streets, the village has a remarkably picturesque appearance. Along the village streets, visitors can come across small shops selling traditional handicrafts. Thus, we have reached the end of our documentary on the wonders of Romania. Thank you for joining us on this journey. For more documentaries from the Balkan countries, continue with the videos featured on the end screen. See you in our next documentaries.